Good evening, all. I think we are live. I'm just getting the last bit set up. Perfect. Right. Let me just wait for my computer to kick in, and then I think we'll be going. It's usually the thing I wait for, just to check that the live stream's actually happening. Yeah, fantastic. Right, we've got the screen working. Brilliant. Okay, well, welcome to the Hobby Hangout for this week. We've finished with Minas Tirith, which I'm really pleased to say. And it's nice to move on and do something different. The workbench is clear of Minas Tirith, and we're moving on to whatever I'm doing next, really. I've got to do this week's video. I haven't. I've thought a little bit about it, but it's probably going to be like a Hobby Aims review, because we're now into August, and I want to go back over what I said I was going to try to achieve this year and see where we're at and what we need to do. And as part of that, evening, Johan. Good to see you. One of the aims was to do the Fallschirmjäger unit, which I've got the second squad and some supports here tonight. So we're going to be working on these, and going to get a bit more work done on these, so that hopefully I can get these finished in the next week or so. I've also got a bit of terrain as well with me tonight. I've got some 3D printed stone walls, which I will work on, and it's going to be nice and easy. I think just probably a quick dry brush over these, and that should be them done. So I'm going to work on those as well. So hopefully you've got a drink with you. Hopefully you've got some hobby stuff that you're going to do, and do feel free to join me in the chat, and we'll have a good old chat about the hobby or whatever springs up. Brilliant. Nice and straight walls. Indeed, I've also got some corners as well. So I think that's what we'll start with tonight. Just planning to do some simple dry brushing. Nothing too fancy. And apologise, I keep putting my hand in front of the camera. So let's move this over here so I'm not doing that. Right, let's get some dry brushing going. Start with a dark grey. We'll just see what these turn out like. I think that's going to be absolutely fine. It's got the black undercoat, so that should just highlight nicely. Brilliant. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's hold that up to the camera, see if you can see. I need to work on the lighting a bit better. That is a really good question, Johan. Resin or FDM? I assume it's FDM because you can see the layers, especially when you dry brush. Actually, it's really interesting, the layers. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but they definitely stand out a lot more. But this is off of JD War Games, is it? Is that the guy? Or JB War Games? He used to do a lot of MDF kits on Facebook, and I've got some of his, but he started doing some 3D printing, and I was curious, so I got a bunch, and I got these walls. These are probably the bits I've had the longest. And what else did I get? I got a 20mm Normandy farmhouse thing. It's quite nice. Roof comes off, so that's that. I need to actually paint that at some point. And then I also got a Normandy barn as well, which again is quite nice. Just need to paint it now. I wasn't sure whether to base them and do some nice ground cover around it. I've seen some people like Johan do them, and obviously come out really well. So something down the road to do. Yeah, dry brush enhance the lines. Yeah, I tend to put on a thicker fill coat first to negate that a bit. That's a lovely barn. Yeah, I do like his prints. They've come out nicely. I don't think he designs them. I think he sells them on license for the architect, if that's what we call them. It's been much better for the camera if I was left-handed, but I'm not, so we'll just have to live with it. Lovely. Right, so yeah, plan is start off, just get these done. They've been sat on my hobby desk for months, absolute months, and I've just not, all I've had to do is come and dry brush them, and I've just not done it. Obviously Minas Tirith has taken the last 3 months worth of brain power, hobby time and effort, so that's why it's not been done recently. But I think they look quite nice, and a bit of flock, a few tufts, and I think they will absolutely do the job. So just going to keep going with this for a bit. Yeah. Evening, Steve. Great to see you. Only just got in, so we'll be in and out on a plus. My 6mm World War One BEF army appeared today. Stop, Steve. You're tempting me now. I've absolutely looked at doing World War One in 6mm, and I take it you've gone with Bacchus. Do let me know if you have or haven't. Maybe a brown, green, black wash over it to break up the grey. That's a nice idea, actually. Maybe even a little bit of green in certain places, sort of to do a sort of a mossy effect. Maybe more on top with the green, and then brown. Yeah, like that. All good, Steve. Bacchus, like that. That is good. I really do like Bacchus figures, and so a little bit, I was going to say a dirty secret, but I don't want to get anybody too excited. But I've been absolutely umming and ahhing all week about Napoleonics. Do I go for Napoleonics in 6mm, or do I use Warlord's Epics? The Epics are all well and good, but I think they're 15mm, and with the 15mm, I think it's just going to take a long time to paint them for me. I don't think I can paint them as quickly. I want to get a 6mm army. I want to get a Napoleonic army so that I can play Sons of Napoleon. I saw Warwick play it at Salute this year. It looked really, really good as a game, and I'm really, really keen to try it and to play it. And to dry brush the lot first, then use a lighter and darker grey to pick out a few stones per wall. That's a good idea. Then a wash and a highlight on the top only. That sounds like a lot of work, Johan, but I may well try that. Steve, Napoleonics, I'm really interested in the Peninsular War, and I have to blame obviously the TV series Sharp. That is where my sort of interests lie more than the Waterloo stuff, which obviously Warlord went for first, and I think probably sold it quite well. Good evening, Luke. Welcome to the live stream. I'm well. I take it Steve's well because his Bacchus 6mm World War One BF army has appeared, so I suspect he's well. And Johan is throwing advice out at me left, right, and centre, which is fantastic. Absolutely love that. So yeah, I think we're all well. Luke, how are you? Factory line, it adds a few steps of the results. Yeah, good shout, Johan. Right, so we're going to do factory efforts then. We are going to dry brush these grey. We're going to go over it with a wash. Then we're going to do Oh no, sorry. Then we're going to pick out some light with some lighter and darker grey. Pick out some of the stones, yeah, and then we'll put a wash on it. And once the wash is dried, we'll then do some highlights on the top. Lovely, fantastic. I love dry brushing. I'd have to say when I learned how to do it, I was like, whoa, this is brilliant! Like quick and easy, and not a whole lot of. I was going to say not a whole lot of skills involved. Obviously, you got to know roughly what you're doing, but generally speaking, I think it's it's therapeutic. It's not a lot to it. Yeah, it's quicker. Yeah. Now you also wire sponge instead of dry brush. Ah, I'm doing well, thanks. Have been painting epic ECW Scots. Yeah, don't tempt me, Luke. ECW is another one that's like, oh, and I think the figures from what I saw on the Warlord website look quite nice. Yeah, I really should not. This is what I've been doing with Napoleonic, so I keep being tempted, but I've not given in yet. And now, I don't know if any of you are in the Napoleonic Wargamers Facebook group, but there's a chap in there called James Wright, and I blame him. It's all his fault, but he's done this fantastic 6mm Peninsular Army. He's done British and French, and they just look fantastic. I mean, he's done a couple of brigades, I think, of French, and he's done a few brigades, I think maybe 3 or 4 brigades of British. They just look brilliant, absolutely top notch. They look a lot of fun, and I think it'll work for Soldiers of Napoleon. Steve says, I've got some test models to one day do 6mm Peninsula. Of course, I'm thinking of doing 4 60mm wide bases per unit. So I was thinking that, and James Wright definitely. I happily went into 6mm Napoleonics, nowhere near that standard. Yeah, Luke. No, I'm glad I'm not the only one thinking about 6mm Napoleonics. I mean, so one of my main likes about 6mm is that when you play a game, getting paint on me now. When you play 6mm on a table, you've got a lot of room on the flanks, so you can do flanking maneuvers and stuff like that. Whereas you can't really do that in 28mm because the units are generally like, from one table to the other, especially if you play it on a 6x4. So 6mm, I love it as a scale, and then certainly for rank and file, I think it works quite well, to be honest. So James Wright has done it. I can't remember how wide his base are. I want to say they're 60mm wide. And he has done 4 strips per. No, sorry. So it's 2 ranks. Is it 2 ranks? But he's done like 3 bases next to it. So within a unit, I think it's either 4 or 6 bases in a unit. He's just got these little movement trays, which he obviously puts the unit in. It's just really clever. Right, sorry, let me catch up. Johan, and the 3mm British Army on the on the Rhine. Sorry, that's arrived today. Fantastic mix of prints and metals. Oh, who were they from, Johan? I can't imagine they're. There's a company that does some really, really nice British Army on the Rhine figures. Dougie Robinson has reviewed their 20mm figures, which he was going to use for Falklands. I can't remember the company. Lionheart, is it? Lionheart Miniatures, something like that. Simon, how are you, sir? Very kind of you to join. We've got 8 people watching. I can't believe this. I put Minas Tirith away, and all of a sudden we've got lots of interest. But no, that's fantastic, Simon. Thank you ever so much for joining. I appreciate What time zone is it in South Africa? I mean, we're properly on an international live stream here. We've got South Africa. Johan, you are in the Netherlands. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, Steve's in the UK. Luke, where are you watching in from? Odyssey, Osmite, out of Poland. Oh, right. So I could pop in and glad the Molin's going well. Yeah, thanks, Simon. Yeah, it is at the moment. Who knows? I may well absolutely decide to spend some money in the coming weeks on more models that I haven't got the time to do. But Cape Town is 1 hour ahead, so you are 9:15. Okay, so not too late. That's quite good actually. Then, brilliant. See, the nice thing, Simon, about these live streams, it's always an educational session for me. I learn so much. So during Minas Tirith, I learned a lot from Johan. I learned a lot from Steve, and yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah, mudflats and cloglands. Thanks, Johan. Luke's from England as well. Fantastic. It's quite nice as it's not too drastic a time change. Yeah, no, absolutely. I suppose when you're calling home as well, you know, that's nice and easy as well. Right, that's 4 bits of stonework done already. I am clearly not doing a speed paint job tonight. Trying to think. I can't remember the last time I did painting on a live stream. Quite some time ago, and I certainly didn't have this many people watching. So much appreciated. And it's always better when we've got lots of people in. I love the Odyssey stuff, but importing into the UK as a paint. Yeah, I do wonder if actually European companies would get on better with UK imports had it not been, or UK sales had it not been for Brexit. I suspect the answer is yes, but without getting political at this point, we'll move swiftly back to my dry wall, my stone dry walls, which are coming on rather nicely, I think. Johan, I Steam had the reverse issue till what's his face stopped importing it. Now getting it from Poland is so much faster. Yeah, nice. Fantastic. We're getting there, slowly but surely. One of the nice things is I'm on leave this week, and so I spent the last 2 days clearing out my garage and workshop. So all my granddad's old tools came out, and we decided which ones I was going to keep, which ones I was going to get rid of. But now I've actually got a workshop that I can do woodworking, which is always quite exciting. It does mean that one day I might actually have a go at building the model railway that I've been planning for probably the last 10 years. The biggest problem is where I can put it once I've built it. So yeah, it's not going to happen just yet, but the other YouTube channel, Gosport Junction, yeah, that will come back at some point. We'll just get to the stage of life when I'm ready for that. That's without doing all the reenactment. Thanks, Simon. Really appreciate that. So what will these stone walls be used for? Well, these are terrain pieces, so they will be making up some. Well, the nice thing is they're generic, so I can use them really in any sort of battle where these would have been common. So these ones, sort of Normandy, I think they probably had some of these in Crete, where my German paratroopers are aiming to be fighting. So that's quite useful. But generally, I think walls are quite a nice bit of terrain to have, just because you'll use it for multi-periods. These are in a set scale, obviously, like all of our terrain. Which generally means if you play multiple scales, you end up doing multiple sets of things like walls, which is a bit frustrating. But yeah, it's a life as a war gamer, I guess. Right, let's catch up. Also, good to have a clean out and tidy out. I need to sort my carriage out too. Yeah, it's just the things that you never have time for. I find, and then when you do it, it's just a really rewarding process. Um, that's how my wife sold it to me, and I actually agree with her post the activity. So yeah, all is good there. Steve says, "Can you double it as a war game table?" Yeah, I wonder if, to be fair, if I did double O gauge, it literally would be 20 mil scale because it's 1/72. The only problem is my plan is to do N gauge, which is smaller than that, and it's I think it's smaller than, I think it's closer to 10 mil. Um, So yeah, I suppose because I'm going to do Gosport Junction, funny enough, as the name suggests, railway in my hometown of Gosport, and I'm going to set it sort of during the war, possibly late war, late 40s, early 50s. But yeah, there's absolutely an Operation Sea Lion scenario in that, so that could be quite good. Need to paint that fence. Don't let me forget. Luke says, must be strangely emotional going through your granddad's tools, mate. But think of that train set that's in your head. Yeah, you know what? Actually, Luke, you're absolutely right. I'm really bad at getting rid of things. I think this is possibly something I've got from my mum, who's a bit. I'm not going to say a hoarder, but she doesn't get rid of things. Mostly because of sentimental value and all that sort of stuff, which I'm not against, but uh, getting married and seeing a different perspective on keeping things and stuff like that, I'm definitely coming around to less is more in some regards. So yeah, and in some ways, I'd rather have a house which I can actually move around in, and I can actually use the stuff that I've got, rather than not being able to because I've got too much. And my wife said it, and I have to keep reminding myself. I think my granddad would be more pleased to know that I was using it and getting enjoyment out of it, rather than just keeping it because it was his. So, yeah, it is emotional, and I do struggle with it. But yeah, it's all about that mindset, isn't it? How you deal with it, how you get over it. But yeah, no, that's good. Steve Pendragon, yeah, I have bought figures from them before. I've got British and Argentines for the Falklands. They do some really, really nice figures, and their terrain is really nice as well. Actually, I've done a couple of videos on their Falklands terrain, and just putting those on bases and making them look quite nice. Well, hopefully, I think they look quite nice. But yeah, definitely check that video out if you haven't seen them. They're in my Falklands playlist. So yeah, Falklands in 10 mil, Falklands in 20 mil. Doing a Dougie Robinson and doing the Falklands in every scale that's ever been made. But no, bless Dougie, he's so good and so knowledgeable, and his painting is brilliant. So yeah, if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely check that out. It's Dougie Robinson's painting blog. I think that's what it is. But he's just such a really nice guy. Had the pleasure of meeting him. The last two salutes, I think I've met up with him. Lovely. Right, 25 minutes in, we are still on track to getting these walls, I think, reasonably finished, minus the extra bits that we're going to do. And then I'll get on to some of these Fallschirmjägers. I'm hoping I can get their sort of uniforms painted today because I'm using contrast paints. And once I've done that, then yeah, it'll be on to webbing and helmets and all that good stuff. So I'll get to that bit. But for now, just going to get these walls finished. Yeah, happy. I think the black coming through is quite nice. Yeah, hopefully we're all doing well on the live stream. It's gone quiet in the chat, and down to 6 people watching, but that's still good numbers. I'm not going to complain at that at all. Awesome. Hopefully it's because you're all busy painting or something wonderful like that, getting a beer, or I don't know, something good. Really curious about those 6mm BEF, First World War BEF, I should say, because that's a difference. The thing I like about the BF is that the cavalry, like the fact that they've gone into the First World War, which I think when we often think of First World War, we think trench warfare, we think machine guns, heavy artillery, all tanks, like eventually, but actually remembering at the start of the war, cavalry was still being used. I think that's for me, it's always quite fun. Johan says, reading up on the Lead Adventure forum after having been offline for 2 days. You know what? When I first, not when I first got into wargaming, but when I moved to America, I met a chap over there who was Irish, and he did wargaming, and he recommended the Lead Adventure forum, and you know what, I never really got into it. I don't know whether it's because it's a bit of a old style forum, and I never really grew up with those. I suppose I did a little bit, but it was never something I really massively got into. But obviously the Lead Adventure forum has been going for donkey's years, from what I understand. And for a lot of people, that was sort of their first online wargaming, sort of the first online wargaming content out there. So yeah, Simon says they are a bit nicer. Sorry, a nice bit of generic terrain which can be used for different campaigns. Sorry, no worries, Simon. No, I've absolutely been there, done that. The one that gets me is when I put a video together, I upload it and all that, except for I don't, because I forget to press save, so that's always quite fun. That gets a bit frustrating. Even weirder than the Soviets had Cossacks in as a force in World War II. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Luke. And that's just another one of those weirder ones, isn't it? You just have to pinch yourself, because you think of these fairly modern conflicts, and yet the equipment, the tactics, and all that. I mean, the fact that in the First World War, there's still carrier pigeons. I appreciate they had phone lines and all that, but carrier pigeons were still being used. Certainly, if you read the histories of the First World War by E. Blackadder, he's very adamant about the use of carrier pigeons during the First World War. And we all know his historical prestige. And yeah, what these are coming on nicely. I have to say, 3D printing, it's good. I like it. I wish I had a 3D printer, but actually listening to the joys that Johan's had, sometimes I think I'm probably actually better off just buying them from somebody else at a reasonable price. So yeah, but they definitely got some advantages to them. But as I said, Minas Tirith didn't have a single bit of 3D printed terrain on it. All done the classic way, the original way. Foam, filler, sand, paint, glue, all that good stuff. Foam. So are these walls 3D printed? Yes, they are. Yeah. So sorry, Simon. I think you might have missed that bit earlier. So basically, there's a guy on Facebook who was selling 3D printed terrain. So in fact, I've got a piece here. This is one of his radar dish that came with an airfield set. Oh, maybe I can get that a bit lower. There we go. So yeah, basically this came with an airfield kit, but he's upped his game and he's gone over to 3D printing more than the MDF kit. So I bought some of his stuff when it came out. So it's really cheap actually. Have a great week, Steve. Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate that. Maybe we'll see you next week, hopefully. Brilliant. Sorry, so I'm going back to your comment. So yeah, they're all 3D printed walls, which is it's just really nice and easy, not having to scratch build them and indent them and all that good stuff with rocks and foil and stuff like that. Not that that's a bad way of making terrain, but it's just not as quick. Sorry, Mr. Other in states they had riders on horses carrying MGs between forces and states. Yeah, certainly if you go, I guess, into war period as well, a lot of their stuff. Yeah, it's amazing at the start of the Second World War how much we talk about Blitzkrieg, we talk about Germany being a really sort of mechanically mobile force, but actually that really was only some of the frontline units. A lot of the forces in the Low Countries and in France, Battle of France, really were horse-drawn, a lot of them. So not quite the massive mechanized armies that we think they were, or we get the myth, as Johan rightly says there. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff, I think. Just puts it all in perspective as well, doesn't it? Where have I put the paint? There it is. Lovely. I mean, I'm doing reenactment, reenacting sort of the British in North Africa, in the desert, and the more and more I learn, what they did was just incredible. Certainly, the likes of the LRDG, the Long Range Desert Group. They were, mind you, they were Bagnall, Major Bagnall? Yeah, I think it's Major Bagnall, the guy who essentially formed the LRDG in the interwar period. He was literally getting Ford Model Ts and going across the desert, mapping them, mapping the desert, and the Germans and the Italians in the desert campaign just wouldn't go through certain parts of the desert. They just believed they weren't passable, and it was one of the advantages that the LRDG had, was because they simply went, well, that's not the case. We know how to get through these, and we've got the skills to do it, and they did it. And they managed to not only get behind enemy lines, but they absolutely were just so invaluable with the reconnaissance, the sabotage, just the whole works of actions against Axis forces in the North African campaign, and really just held Rommel back. So yeah. Some says, with modern warfare, the forces don't even really have to be in the same country as the conflict. Yeah, it's interesting. And I can't say too much just because of work and what I do, but it is getting a bit like that. But there will still always be that requirement for human assets, I think, on the ground, with intelligence, but also active engagement. So yeah, it's it is really interesting how warfare's changed. Really has changed quite a bit. Right, well, that's all the dry brushing done. I'm going to leave those now, and just going to quickly get a little bit of brown. Did I open this one? This is the one I opened. I've got two of these new ones, and I opened one of them the other day for this Tirith. I couldn't remember which one. Don't start the board game. Interesting, Luke. Speaking of board games, I have to say, Memoir 44 is one of my favourite board games. Really enjoy that game, and if you haven't tried it, I'd highly recommend it. Essentially, It's a hex-based game, but it works really well because you can do it. The game spans different theaters, spans different time zones in the war. There's a lot of historical scenarios. Just a really, really, really good game. Easy to learn as well. Mechanics are really simple as well. Yeah, you're right, Simon. No, fantastic. No, thanks ever so much for joining us, Simon. Really, really appreciate it. Do send our best to the family, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. But thanks for joining us. Really good to have you on. Fantastic. What a great evening it's been so far. Really, really appreciate it, everyone. It's really weird. So I'm absolutely exhausted. No, not a problem, Simon. No, really appreciate your time. I have to say it's really funny because I was absolutely exhausted today, and I thought, oh, am I going to be able to do this? And every week when I'm feeling like that, I come online and go away feeling really refreshed. Just chatting with you guys, doing some hobby, just having a bit of time. Really, actually, is refreshing. Hopefully, you guys find it refreshing too. Hopefully, this is something that is chilled out and relaxing. I think we're getting there. Definitely going to put a wash over these. That's good, Simon. I really appreciate your comments. It's nice that it's enjoyable. Funny enough, actually, Johan, what I should have done with these is use the. Should I have used the contrast paints for the brown here? Because that would have done the wash at the same time. No, on a black, because I've done them black as a base coat, I'm not sure that would have worked quite as well. But do let me know in the comments if you think that would have been better, and I will do that on the other one because I've got another one. Yeah, Luke, Command and Colors is one that I really want to play, but I haven't had the chance yet. So yeah, definitely want to. And there's the Battle of Hoth version coming out in the next couple of weeks. Yes, I did see that, and I am tempted, although it's just a bit sad that they only did it for Hoth. I, personally, I'd love to see a Battle of Endor version of the game. I think that would be really cool. And for me personally, I think I'd enjoy that more than Hoth. But obviously, with Hoth, you get the AT-ATs and all that. So I can understand what they've gone for that. Johan, thanks for that. Yeah, noted. Contrast, yeah, no good for it. Yeah, no good. Thanks for saving me on that one. I'll just carry on as was. Vallejo washes in a bottle lots more for a lot less, and works great for scenery. Yeah, nice. Oh, Luke, good. I'm glad. Reboost your enthusiasm for painting tomorrow. Oh, that's good. Do you have a painting group then tomorrow? Because I know Johan has. Johan, you have something on Thursday as well, don't you? Like a painting group. It's really interesting. I hadn't really heard of that sort of thing until Johan mentioned it a few weeks ago on the live stream. So, if more of you do it, then that's quite interesting. Obviously, it's something that I haven't really been exposed to much, but yeah, the live stream's really kind of the only, I guess, group hobbying that I do, unless I go around my friend Mark's, and sometimes we'll work on something together, whether it's a bit of terrain or sticking sand on bases for figures and stuff like that. Yeah, every Monday evening. Monday evenings. I don't know why I thought it was a Thursday. Never mind. Lovely. I'm not actually sure what the best angle is for the camera. I've gone for a sort of zoomed in on this, but I appreciate I'm right-handed, so actually I probably should have the camera on the other side, looking at me, because then I could paint this way. Is it worth me quickly trying that now and getting your yeah, let's get your opinion on that, because if it's actually no good, then at least you guys can tell. I do have a top down, but I wasn't sure whether that would be any better. Let's just try over here. Is that going to get in my way? Sorry guys for the wobbles. Oh, I've got 5 people watching now. That's brilliant. Let's see. It doesn't help that I haven't actually cleaned up my hobby room since doing ministerial. Whoa, the camera is going wherever it likes. Let's just type that there. Let's just bring that down like that a little bit. Right, how are we doing there? Let's see. That is a different angle. Oh, why is that moving? Oh, that's because I'm knocking it with my foot. That doesn't help. Right, is that any better? That is very weird, not having it on my right shoulder. I paint during the day. In the evening, I happily watch other geeky live streams and pick up tips and get views. Oh, good. Oh, that's good news. Let me paint. Right, let's move that over there. Let's see if this helps. The attack of the massive hand. Well, yeah, this is the problem I've got. And being right-handed, it being on my right side is probably not the best place for it. That's a little bit better. What I can do next week if I'm painting again is I will get the overhead. What do you call it? Not tripod. It's a boom sort of thing. I can put that overhead and have the camera looking straight down at my painting desk. See if that's any better. Cool. Oh, getting rocks. Yep, lovely. Oh, those seagulls are going at it tonight. Right, hopefully that's a bit better. We now see what you've already painted instead of what's coming next. Yeah, and my water now needs to move as whoa. Oh, sorry about that. I've just knocked the camera in a massive attempt just to, yeah. Right. Let's clean that brush out for a second. Cool. Right. It's all a learning curve, guys. I have to say. Oh, and I'm now stretching across that to put the paints away. Oh, dearie me. Right. Let's get on to painting some Fallschirmjäger. Right. Rather pleased about that. Oh, this is not looking like it looks like paint that I've left for far too long. So we're going to need to give it a good shake. I did shake it earlier before I came on. Just so I didn't have to do this on camera, but clearly it's gone. No, do it again. So let's start here. Let's do some prone guys first because they're nice and easy. And we're going to be starting with the smocks, and I'm using Plague Bearer Flesh. Let's see how this looks. So I'm doing the smocks. And the trick is to avoid the webbing. I'd never really used contrast paints, and then I watched some videos and I was like, oh, that just makes it look a lot quicker and easier. And I'm painting it behind my hand. Look at that. That's clever, isn't it? Let's try this way. See if you can see any more that way. You can see how terrible I am at painting. Painting was probably like the least favorite part of my hobby. Like love gaming. And then I probably would have said I actually prefer terrain over painting figures, but I then went through a stage where I kind of did a lot of it, and I got better at it, and it became more fun, surprisingly. So yeah, I'm not sure it's my favorite part of the hobby yet, but it's better than it was, more enjoyable than it was. I have to say, I think when so 2mm, really good example. Because they're quick and you get results quickly, I actually really enjoyed those, painting them. And then with these Fallschirmjäger, again, used contrast paints and got some results really quickly, which meant, again, I really enjoyed it. So I do think there's a correlation between getting something finished quickly, seeing results quickly, and enjoyment. So that's my 2p's worth for tonight. Get that collar. Lovely. Right. One down. Happy. Let's find another prone guy. I do like the prone guys. They're quick. Yeah. I think we're still up to date with the chat. There's a bit more webbing on this one, so we're going to be a little bit more careful. They're quite nice figures, though. They are from Valiant Miniatures. The only thing I would say about them is there is a question about whether they are 172 or closer to like 25mm. They're sort of like, yeah. So do you often mix various things on the paint table? I tend to go one set of stuff and try and finish it. Yeah, good point. I think I don't. I tend to do that, to be honest. But I thought for the live stream it might be a little bit more interesting. And with these walls, I'm not sure whether they're going to be my video on Sunday. So I kind of am hedging my bets by getting those pretty much done tonight, so that I've got potential content for Sunday. But again, like I said earlier, I may well decide I'm going to go for a hobby objectives review where I talk about what I set myself as targets back in January and see how I'm getting on with those. So I think that's probably where I'm going to go. But those walls have been calling out to be finished for so long. I just thought, let's get them done. And then these Fallschirmjäger, yeah, they are on the list. They need to be done. And so, yeah. Right. Luke says, completely agree. I don't like painting and I'm not very good. Epic scale is now as big as I go. Now, that's fair. You know what? I found actually with 20mm, they are really enjoyable to paint. And I think it really helps when you get some really good figures as well. So I painted a lot of Elheim figures, and they're just a lot of fun to paint. Really, really nice figures. These are fine. Valiant. They're easy enough. They're plastic, so they're fairly forgiving. Although I actually think I prefer painted metal figures. I find the details very crisp on them. AB, obviously, if you get a chance to paint those, wonderful. A lot of detail, a lot of really nice detail on those. I've painted Zan miniatures. They're really nice. They pair up really nice with AB as well. Trying to think. Obviously, I painted 28mm stuff for Dead Man's Hand, Bolt Action in the Day, Chain of Command. Although, to be honest, with the 20mm stuff now, I'm using that for a lot of the stuff that I used to do, like Bolt Action and Chain of Command. If I'm going to play those games, I'd rather play them in 20mm now than 28mm. Just my preference, I guess. I also like the look of them on the table. 28mm, if you're playing on a 6x4 table, it just feels a bit big. And when you put a tank on the table at 28mm, it sort of feels out of place, feels a bit wrong. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it all. That unit go longer than I think it does. That looks like a smock at the moment, and it should be a tunic. I think I need to paint a bit more. Yeah, there we go. I just wasn't quite seeing what had been sculpted there, but it's there. Yeah, lovely. Happy days. Cool. It's 3. See, Johan says I don't enjoy painting, which is odd as I'm rather good at it. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I mean, the amount of times I've talked to Pierce and he, talks about, really enjoying painting, and he does a lot of it and he's very good at it. But I don't know, it's not really something that's ever massively been enjoyable. I think when I find a figure that's really nice to paint, or figures that are really nice to paint, and I do a good job, I think that's where the enjoyment comes from, not necessarily the actual process of it. But every now and again, I'll sit down and I'll have an hour's painting. I'll just listen to some music, and actually at that point, I'm like, oh, it's actually really relaxing and enjoyable. But um, I don't. I'm not one of these people that goes through all the stages that others go through. There's some people that do filters and multiple amounts of highlights, and just so much work goes into it. And I don't think I've got that time or that patience really, which is possibly why my figures are not that good. And I've just painted over that. I didn't need to. That's going to be white. So if I can just get that off. Yeah, I think I've saved that. Good. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. This has been just absolutely brilliant, and kind of, dare I say, a proof of concept, because I wasn't sure whether the live stream idea was going to be worth keep going with. But actually, week on week now, it's getting better. Not better in terms of the quality, but the number of people who are tuning in. I think it's possibly because Johan's turned up, because the number's definitely been up since he started joining in and watching. No, only joking. No, on a serious note, I think it's really, really encouraging with how many people have joined in, and tonight's been another great example of that. I mean, even now we've got 6 people watching, which doesn't sound like a lot, but there have been times when I've done a live stream and nobody's watched, and that's quite disheartening at times. But no, I really, really, really appreciate all of your support. Can't say that enough. So thank you for that. Right, going back into the comments, getting RSI was the best thing that ever happened. No longer able to spend hours on stuff. Now I just want to get it done. What's RSI? So now it's all sponges and washing. Dark tone wash followed by a dry brush of deck tan. Pure magic talent. Dark tone wash from a dry brush. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How there are people who swear by, they just put on a base color, slap a wash over it, and a quick dry brush, and that is it. And that's not a technique that I was taught when I first started. So, in fact, I don't even think I did washes originally. And when I found out about washes, I was like, whoa, what is this magic? Because it just took my figures to another level. But curious what RSI is now. Repetitive strain injury. Ah, yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to help. And I'm sure that doesn't make it very enjoyable if you're, doing something and then getting in, having pain from it. That's not good at all. Sponges and washes. I see. I've heard of sponges from sort of like vehicles and stuff for doing chipping and stuff. I never really heard of it for like painting. Oh, arthritis as well. That's just a killer, isn't it? I mean, not a killer, exactly, but just like in terms of what a kick in the teeth when you're down. That is that's not good. I also find my blocking in is a bit. It's not that great. I tend to just end up washing everything. Sorry, painting everything. The blocking of color tends to be just colors over colors, but um, yeah, hopefully you can see this all right. Let's catch up. Epic scale historicals, simple paint job and basing, and the flags make it look so much better. It's amazing what flags do to figures, isn't it? Show you the sponging someday. Brilliant! Yeah, it's probably going to revolutionise my painting, and I'm never going to go back to a brush again. And all the brush companies will thank you for that, Johan. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just putting my hand in the way just so I can get this figure done. And it is really funny because you go for like, right, I'm gonna paint. So you paint and you like you use your twists and all that, and then you go to paint on camera, and that's just even more challenging. It's um, yeah, definitely takes like the right camera angle, I think, to make it all work. And I'm not sure I've necessarily got it here this week, but what we'll do next week is I will bring my camera for over the top, so you can we'll look down on the workbench, and hopefully that will just improve things for you guys, because obviously if you're tuning in to watch, then it's important that you can see what's going on and enjoy. Not so important if I can see. That's all good. All good. Right, these guys are coming along quite nicely. I do quite like painting these guys. They are pretty good. Mostly, I think it's the contrast paint, because it's quick. You get a result quickly. It's quite enjoyable. It's fairly easy to do. You literally just blocking colour in and letting the paint do the rest of the work for you. So, yeah, there's another base. Let's do this one next. What have I got? I've got this one and then another one more LMG team. Luke says, I used to be in bands. What was easy in rehearsals was suddenly difficult when it was live. Yeah. It's that same concept, isn't it? It's like you take it for granted, and when the pressure's not there, things are ridiculously easy. I tennis player. Haven't played for a few years now just because of commitments at home and stuff. But exactly the same there. Put me out on a court, make it a friendly, just a club night, anything like that. I could do anything I wanted with that tennis ball. It would go where I wanted it as quickly as I wanted it, and no problems whatsoever. And get into a match, and the nerves hit, and I just couldn't do anything for toffees. And it took so many years of match play, and I still get nervous. Don't know why. Just the same, and it's not like my wages resting on it. Literally, just go out and have some fun against some different people. But yeah, I completely get it. Lovely, 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 lovely. Yeah. So I did go through a stage when I was living in America where I wasn't wargaming really. I was doing the painting. That was really the main part of the hobby for me, was just painting, and then YouTube. Um, and what I found was I was able to sit down of an evening and go through sort of 28 mil figures, and I'd just do, a couple of steps of an evening. So, an hour or two's worth of work I'd have. I don't know, all the uniforms and the boots and the flesh done, and next evening I'd go through and I'd do all the webbing, the weapons, and then following night I would put a wash on it, and then I'd do some highlights. So within a week, I'd have 10 figures, a squad painted. It was quite a good way of getting through them. But batch painting, I think, just killed me in terms of motivation. And then I got to a stage where I was just trying to paint ones and twos. So that's where the Cowboys were brilliant, because I'd work on just one figure, and I could get in painted in a couple of hours to a good standard. So yeah, and with this project, I've kind of gone back to batch painting, but it's quick because I'm not having to do a wash, because it's already in the paint. So that's been really beneficial. Really quite like that about these contrast paints. Sometimes it's about making the job easier, isn't it? So I'm in awe of anyone painting live, especially with how much GW pots love being knocked over. Johan says factory lining makes it so easy. It wasn't so mind-numbing and boring as sometimes. Yeah, no, I completely agree, Luke. The GW pots love to go flying. I have knocked one or two over in my time, which is painful, as you see the pound coins rolling out of the pot and onto the table. It's not good when it does that, but to be honest, that's the only way I really finish a pot of paint, is if I throw some of it around, because I just don't paint enough to. Don't want that one there. Yep, okay, save that. Let's just check his back. Yeah, backs of sleeves, always the bits I tend to miss. Always have to go in and have a double check on that. Cool. Yeah. Sometimes getting into gaps to get bits is a little bit challenging. Right, I have gone ever so slightly over, so I'm going to keep going just for another 5 minutes to get these two finished, and then I've got 3 more figures, and I just want to do the smocks, and then we'll call that a night. But guys, you've been absolutely brilliant as always. Absolutely fantastic. If you liked my Minas Tirith video, do please feel free to share it and put a comment on it, particularly the finale. The views on it haven't been too bad, but they've not been. I mean, I was hoping to get over 100 views on it. I thought it would be relatively popular. Doesn't seem to have been quite so popular. Even had one person comment saying expect it better or something, but I'm not going to take it for what it is, either a tongue-in-cheek or somebody thought they were funny and could do better. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, to be honest, but I don't really care too much. It is what it is. It's one person who thinks they're gonna, I don't know, get a bite or something. I'm not going to. But yeah, do please comment, like, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do please consider that, because that is obviously good for my channel, the algorithms and all of that good stuff. And at the end of the day, who doesn't love a subscriber? So yeah, I think Sunday we're going to go and do a hobby aims review. We'll just see where I'm at with all of my hobby aims, what I'm going to complete, what I'm not going to complete, because there's definitely bits I'm not going to complete. Yeah. Sorry, I've missed a few. Luke says Noon Oil and Agrax Earthshade seem especially susceptible to tumbles. Yeah, but I don't know whether that's because I suppose statistically they're probably two of the most used washes out there. If you think about it, probably if anybody's going to buy washes, it's going to be a Noon Oil and an Agrax Earthshade. After that, it's a little bit of a toss-up, but I would put some money on Reichland Flesh Shade as probably coming in at number 3 is most popular. But yeah, I do agree with you. Johan says it's almost like it's part of their business plan. I would put it past them. That's the problem with small scale stuff from close up. It's not meant for that. It's the big picture. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Johan. If people don't really understand small scales, then they look at these things and think, well, it's not very detailed. But actually, you want to take a step back and view it from 3 foot away, like you would most things on a table, and then look at it. So yeah, me sticking a camera up close to is probably not doing me any good. But obviously, you guys want to see it. So yeah, I think you're absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Maybe that's the comment I'll go back with. Right, let's just get this guy. So I've got is that a light anti-personnel? I don't know, howitzer. Don't know. It's not a mortar. It's a 7.6 centimeter gun, I think. 76 mil. No, that's too big. No, it's smaller than that. But it's not a Pack 36. It's an airborne one. Not quite sure what it is, but I'll look it up and I'll tell you next week. But it's one of the support options for the army in Chain of Command. So I thought, yeah, we'll do that. Right, let's get this guy's smock done, and then we've got one more to do, and then we'll call that a night. And I'll go spend some time with my wife because I think she's probably wanting to see me. She's been an absolute gem. She's done bedtime 3 nights in a row this week so far already for various different reasons. I can't remember. Did she? Yeah, can't remember what the reason was, but she's been a star. Recordless rifle. Yeah, I think you're right. That makes a lot more sense than what I was saying. But basically, it's if you were to look up Valiant Miniatures, look at their Fallschirmjäger, and I think it's like in their support pack. It's one of the. In fact, in a minute, I'm just going to turn around and get the box and tell you because I think I've got the box on the shelf, and that stops me guessing and looking stupid and horribly wrong, which nobody wants. Is that one done? Oh, missed a bit there. I keep trying to get an angle to have a look, and the other guy on the base is getting in the way, so he's annoying me a little bit. Right, and this one here. And there's probably some helmet covers I should be doing in this as well. Need to go back and watch my so I did a video on these guys on sort of how to paint. So if you want to check that out, do have a look back through my videos. But one of the reasons why I do a how to paint tutorial is because I wanted to remember how I painted these. So yeah, I've watched it at least twice today already, trying to remind myself for tonight's live stream. But this guy, I want to say he's going to be sort of one of my jumping off points because it's essentially pulling one of their canisters on wheels, which I think looks quite cool. But I thought it would make a good jumping off point for Chain of Command, so that's where I'm going with it. I'm sure it'll be a good support option in a load of other rules sets as well, because generally rule sets have support options. Cool. Right, and that is this guy nearly finished. Let me just finish his arm. Oh, a little bit on his backside. Down by his leg. Cool. Right. There we have it, team. We've got 4 in the room still. That's brilliant. What have we got here? Yeah, Luke says, with small scales, the true impact is when the entire force is displayed on the table. 100% agree with that. My 2 mil armies for Lord of the Rings do look quite good, I have to say. Yeah, the reason why I'm giving 3 mil Cold War a try. Yeah, they will look good. Not the biggest table, but should still look impressive. And that's the other nice thing about small scale, is you don't need a huge table to play. So that is, yeah, massively important. My brigade models order should be in tomorrow. Nice one to make a nice small German town. Oh, lovely. Looking forward to seeing that, Johan, because your work is excellent. Sounds like during never even considered Cold War. Have it in 15 mil, but with modern weapon ranges, 4x6 still feels cramped. I want room to maneuver 100%. Yeah, perfect sense. I've managed to play Austerlitz on a 4x3. Nice. Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's one of the beauties of 2 mil, especially with ancient warfare. I find you need to be able to maneuver around the flanks and stuff like that. That was part of the tactics. So you need that. So yeah, no, that sounds great. Well, guys, I have gone over a little bit, nearly a quarter an hour over, but I really, really appreciate you guys, your support, sticking with me, obviously being on tonight, and the comments in the chat have just been constantly flowing, so I can't thank you enough for that. Clearly, this was a good thing. I think next week I'm going to get some more lighting in play, although it does make it very hot in the room, so I'll have to open the windows. But I'll also do the top-down view for the camera. So I'll bring all that into play. We'll do this again next week. Hobby Hangout, whatever the date's going to be. What we're on the 6th, so 7 days time. Be the 13th. So yeah, 13th we will be back doing some more painting. Not sure what we'll be up to yet. Maybe we'll be finishing off the Fallschirmjäger, maybe something else. Not sure. But do check out my video on Sunday where I'll be reviewing my hobby aims for 2025 and seeing just where we're up to. So if you're interested in knowing what I've managed to complete, what I haven't, what I've still got to come, then do check out that video. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.